Let's go to 11 through 20 in the rankings here. Once again, this is Matthew's 2026 very, very early overall rankings. See CeeDee Lamb at 11. Trey McBride at 12 is the first tight end on the board here, Matthew. The key question with a tight end that early is, does he provide enough of a positional advantage to warrant being a first-round pick the year after he set the NFL record for most receptions in a single season by a tight end?
And the answer is yes, right now. Again, this is one that my suspicion is that he will drop and like Bowers will come up. But we had this conversation the other day. Again, ranking as if the NFL is today. At the moment, Trey McBride has a bad defense, a quarterback in Jacoby Brissett that understands the assignment, can get him the ball. He's the focal point of this passing offense. And by the way, it's not just about how good is he, but it's about how much better he is than any other tight end. The reason why he has a borderline round one pick, top of round two, 12 overall, is because he was over 100 points better than the second best tight end this year, which was Kyle Pitts, which is also sort of crazy to think about. But targets are earned. He earned a 28% target share on the season in Jacoby Brissett's 11 starts. And then you think about who the number two tight end is. It's Brock Bowers. And at the moment, Brock Bowers' quarterback is Kenny Pickett or Geno Smith with kind of a disaster of an offense around him. Now, what we expect to have happen is, and Pete Carroll's his coach, we expect, honestly, a new coaching staff, a new offensive scheme, them to take Fernando Mendoza, number one overall. So all those, if all those things happen, Brock Bowers will come up, McBride will come down, because the difference between the two of them isn't as significant as it is now, where McBride is over 100 points better than everyone else at the position and just gives you such a weekly cheat code at a scarce position. But that's the argument on Trey McBride at the moment being a borderline first rounder.
Going a little further down the board, Malik Nabers at 14, obviously a lost season, Jay, due to injury. And I saw some chatter of this in the YouTube chat as well. You look at what Wan'Dale Robinson is doing in this offense right now, and you look at the promise of Jaxson Dart. How high can Malik Nabers rise, especially after we get some more positive reports on his health throughout the offseason?
Yeah, well, we know the talent. We know that there's a good chance that he'll be able to bounce back from this injury pretty quickly, given how young he is. And we know that as good as Wan'Dale Robinson has been, this will clearly be Malik Nabers' passing game. But I'm interested, Connor. Yeah, exactly. So he may not even be back. So I think, Jaxson Dart's had a good rookie year. I think he's proven that he is the future in New York for now. But a lot of his value, Connor, has been driven by his rushing. And as a passer, it hasn't been as clean. Now, he's fallen off the past few weeks, and I think that's largely because the Giants are just playing out the string of the season. He doesn't really have weapons to throw to outside of the great Wan'Dale Robinson. But what have you seen, Connor, from Dart as a passer, and how does that inform any confidence about Malik Nabers next year?
Well, I think number one, Dart, when Dable was there, was running the offense pretty effectively and efficiently. When they needed him to get the ball out, he did, and he did accurately. And you can kind of picture all of that with quick stuff to Nabers, who's so good after the catch. But what you love about this pairing is that Dart can extend plays and throw the ball down the field. And that's where Malik Nabers coming out of LSU was so dangerous, is the fact that as soon as it went into a scramble drill, this guy's electric and nobody can run with him and he can win down the field. So I will be very high on Malik Nabers going into next year. I love the idea of these two getting a full season together, and I can't wait to see it happen. Adam Smith asked, Matthew, keeper options for next season, keep two. Saquon, ride and died Hampton, or Nabers?
I can keep two?
Keep two.
I think I'm going to shock you here, but I think I'm throwing back Saquon.
I was going to go with that.
Yeah, I agree too.
I'm definitely keeping Nabers. That's not even thinking twice. And here's the thing with Amari Hampton. Amari Hampton looks good when he's healthy and back with the Chargers, and they have no offensive line. Correct. So I know Saquon, it's been tough this year. I was personally burned by it in the League of Assholes, so maybe I have a bias, but I'm not going down that road again.
No, I think Saquon. Go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
I was going to say, I think people have this idea in their head naturally what the Chargers offense looks like every week. And the defining image of the Chargers offense is Justin Herbert fighting for his life every single play. And it's difficult to kind of just like visually kind of make the adjustment, but they're going to get back not one, but two of the best tackles in the NFL, and their offense is going to look completely different next year. And Hampton is going to get more of a workload, I think, clearly, because of the investment they made in him and the talent that he's shown when he's been out there. And just for the offensive line, you're going to go from the worst offensive line in football potentially to one of the better offensive lines in football. I think that's just going to completely change the way that everything looks. And I think you have faith in this organization and this offensive personnel and the play calling and Herbert as a quarterback and what he does for the offense. So, yeah, I think Hampton over Saquon. Here's the thing is, like, why will it necessarily get better for Saquon? Like, everyone's going to be a year older. He's going to be a year older. I don't think that this is, like, next year is definitely a bounce back year for Saquon. He stayed healthy the whole year. Like, there's health risk that it could get worse. So, yeah, I think Hampton and Nabers are the two there.
The other concern on Saquon Barkley, and we love Saquon here, right? One of the best players in the NFL. But one of the other concerns on Saquon is that, like, depending on how the season goes, right? There could be, I mean, there's been lots of turnover at the coordinator position over the last couple of years. In some cases, it's because obviously, you know, they're coming off the Super Bowl win, right? And so, you know, Kellen Moore gets hired, Jonathan Gannon, Shane Steichen, they get gigs right over the last couple of years in Super Bowl years. But then also you think about like Brian Johnson and that, like, years where they struggle, they get rid of everyone. And so if the Eagles don't go far this year, and you can certainly make an argument that they won't, like, we'll see how it all plays out. But if the Eagles lose in the first round, like, you could see changes on both sides of the ball at the coordinator position, especially on offense, where they've struggled recently. You know, they didn't have a first down in the second half last week. Like, how does an NFL team not have a first down in a second half? All right. So it's just love Saquon, but, you know, the age, the concerns, yeah, give me Omar and Hampton, especially assuming you can keep him more than just this year. Give me the guy that's much younger.
Matthew, you said at the top of the show, you might not be able to win your league in the first round, but you can certainly lose it. That brings us to the 17th overall player on the board in Justin Jefferson. How confident are you that him and McCarthy can grow together next year and improve from what was just, based on expectations, a disastrous season for JJ?
Yeah, nowhere to go but up. I mean, so I guess you have to squint to get there, right? But, like, you know, if you're talking yourself into it, and I sort of am, JJ McCarthy has looked better the last couple of weeks. He's still a very inexperienced player. He missed most of his rookie year, right? And so he's going to have the whole offseason, again, be fully healthy, again, understanding that 18 is the focal point of that passing offense. How do we get those guys on the same page? We had a nice game last week as well. He's also been really fluky. Like, he's had 2 touchdowns in 16 games this year. I don't care if I'm his quarterback. He's Justin freaking Jefferson. Like, he's had bad touchdown luck, right? Whether it's McCarthy overthrowing him missing as well. This is somebody that produced with Josh Dobbs, with Nick Mullins, with Carson Wentz, like with a cavalcade of quarterbacks. So I have to believe that if the Vikings commit to JJ McCarthy and he is the starting quarterback next year, I think there's a chance that they just sort of say, you know what, we might have been wrong here. But assuming that they believe in JJ McCarthy, I'm just going to bet on volume and talent with Justin Jefferson and assume he can get there. But clearly, Connor, I've ranked Justin Jefferson lower than I ever have since his rookie year.
I think what would give all of us a boost of confidence if the Vikings go out and get a pro to bring into camp that just provides the necessary insurance. And I was one of these people that when the Colts went and got Daniel Jones as Anthony Richardson insurance, I was like, I don't know what this is going to do. And it arguably saved a lot of fantasy seasons before Daniel Jones got hurt. I wouldn't be shocked if the Vikings go out and maybe it's Mac Jones, maybe it's a lesser caliber player, but get somebody just as a backup in that situation. All right, one more big topic from this.
Connor, just to that point, I mean, again, we've seen it. Like, think about what the Jets players did once Tyrod Taylor took over. Think about what the Cardinals did once Jacoby Brissett.
Right.
But once Jacoby Brissett, like, again, not franchise guys, but professional quarterbacks that can run an offense, right?
Yeah.
And so, I agree with you. They'll get somebody like that, I believe.
The last really, really intriguing player on this spot that we have to talk about, guys, is George Pickens, because Pickens is a pending free agent. But Jay, is it safe to say that the best situation is him just going back to Dallas for fantasy, or is that not the best because CeeDee Lamb is still there?
I think it's the best. The fact that Pickens has been able to put up this season alongside Lamb. I understand that Lamb has missed time, but even when Lamb has been out there, Pickens has been a monster. And I think Pickens is such a wild card in terms of how his NFL career has gone so far. The fact that we have found a situation where he clearly works. He's with Dak Prescott, who has a willingness to throw the ball down the field, and then two, an elite ability to do that. I just think that also the continuity with Dak in that offense. I think with Pickens, like, you just don't want to touch anything. Just don't change it, because if you change it, it could all break. And if he stays in Dallas, I suspect that he's just going to be an elite fantasy option again.
Look, not everything we say is right. Not everything we predict comes true. But every once in a while, you say, well, this makes a ton of sense because of this. And here's why I think this is going to happen. And it all plays out exactly like you say. George Pickens is on the preseason love list. And one of the reasons why we said it's like, look, he was miscast in Pittsburgh as a number one wide receiver. But to now go to an offense where he's got one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL in Dak Prescott, who's incredibly accurate when he throws 15 or yards more downfield, and he doesn't have to be the number one guy, and it's going to be a fantasy-friendly offense. Like, we think he's going to be very successful, and again, on the preseason love list, but I didn't think he was going to be the sixth best wide receiver in fantasy, which is what he's been this year. Yes, please keep him there. Same offense, same quarterback. Keep my guy Eights next to him. Pickens should be an easy fantasy superstar next year, assuming the same situation.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.